Hey Raiders fans, today we're diving into everything happening with the Las Vegas Raiders and what moves could make the biggest difference as we push forward through this season. There's been a lot of chatter around the team's roster and free agent possibilities, especially after the Jacoby Myers trade, and I want to break down what realistically could help this team immediately. First off, let's talk about wide receiver. I know a lot of people have been throwing out names and speculating about replacements, but honestly, my first instinct would be to give Dante Thornton Jr. and Jack Best more opportunities. We drafted these guys for a reason, and sometimes it feels like this team doesn't always give the young talent a fair shot. However, if the Raiders wanted to bring in a veteran presence to complement the younger receivers, there are a couple of names that make sense. Tyler Boyd is one of them, a reliable option who could step in and provide some leadership and stability. Another name that comes up is Robert Woods. This one is interesting because of the connection to the coaching staff. He has worked with multiple coaches on this team in the past and has the kind of experience that could help in a transitional moment. Woods has consistently played in most games over the last few seasons and could be a useful addition if the team wanted to strengthen the receiving core. That said, my preference would still be to see Jack Best and Dante Thornton Jr. get more snaps, but the option to bring in a veteran like Boyd or Woods is certainly something to consider. Moving inside to the offensive line, the Raiders really have two key areas to focus on if they're looking to add in free agency: wide receiver, which we just discussed, or offensive line depth. While I don't expect the team to make major moves on the line given the players they drafted, there are some intriguing options to keep in mind. Shaq Mason is a name that stands out, a veteran guard with significant experience, having started over 100 games in his career. Mason is a strong pass blocker and could provide stability if the team wanted to move JPJ to center and needed someone reliable on the right guard position. Beyond Mason, other names to watch are Mark Glowinski and Liam Eichenberg. Glowinski has flexibility across guard positions and has connections to the coaching staff through past experience, while Eichenberg has played multiple positions along the line and could provide depth. While these options may not be headline-grabbing, they represent practical solutions for a team navigating injuries or depth concerns and wanting to stay competitive on the offensive front. Now, shifting to the defensive side, this is where I would focus if the Raiders were only able to add one player. With Jacoby Myers gone, there's an open roster spot, and the defense has clear areas for improvement. Starting with the defensive line, there are players with experience and coaching connections that could make a tangible difference. Shaquille Barrett, despite being older and having had an uneven recent season, has experience winning at the highest level and could provide consistent pressure. DeMarcus Walker is another name worth mentioning, bringing experience, pass rushing ability, and a reputation as a solid locker room presence. For a team focused on culture and building trust within the locker room, players like Walker offer both skill and character, which is critical for the Raiders as they aim to reestablish a competitive identity. Linebackers are a more challenging area, with few options standing out in free agency. That said, targeting someone who can create pressure and fit specific situational roles could be valuable. A player like Josey Jewell could be used strategically on third downs or in certain defensive alignments, maximizing his impact without needing to overcommit reps. Adjusting the linebacker rotation, giving more playing time to high-performing players, and shifting responsibilities based on matchups can also make a notable difference in performance, especially in a team looking to improve coverage and pressure without massive roster changes. Moving into the secondary, this is where strategic additions could really elevate the defense. While top-tier names like Justin Simmons might be out of reach or not a fit for the current strategy, there are several defensive backs whose versatility and experience could be extremely valuable. Players like Asani Samuel Jr., Jordan Whitehead, Stephon Gilmore, and John Johnson all bring something different to the table. Samuel Jr. offers the ability to play outside despite size concerns. Whitehead provides flexibility across free safety and box roles. Gilmore could transition to free safety and give the team a seasoned presence, and Johnson acts as a versatile safety who can anchor the back end. The key here is balancing experience, versatility, and the ability to integrate seamlessly into Pete Carroll and John Spy's system. These players could step in and immediately enhance coverage, communication, and overall defensive execution, while also setting a tone for competitiveness and accountability across the roster. In considering these moves, the strategy should not just be about filling gaps, but about signaling that the Raiders are committed to fighting every game. Adding a player to the defense, particularly in the secondary or on the defensive line, sends a message to the team, to free agents, and to the fan base that the organization is still focused on building a winning culture, even in the midst of a tough season. This approach could influence morale, motivate young players, and even attract talent in future off-seasons, as it demonstrates a commitment to competitiveness rather than surrender. As the Raiders navigate this 2-6 stretch, every decision, from giving snaps to young receivers to targeting specific free agents on defense, matters not just for immediate performance, but for the long-term trajectory of the team. Continuing with the Raiders' defensive outlook, the linebacker and secondary positions really highlight the areas where smart acquisitions could immediately make an impact. The linebacker room has struggled in coverage this season, and that has been a recurring theme in games where the Raiders have allowed big plays. One approach could be adjusting the roles of the current roster, such as giving more snaps to players who excel in coverage or hybrid roles while moving others into positions where their strengths are better utilized. At the same time, bringing in a player with situational impact, someone who can provide consistent pressure on passing downs, is a strategy that could change the dynamic for this defense. A player like Chosi Jewell could be used specifically on third downs or in running situations where the Raiders need an extra edge rusher, maximizing his contribution without overextending his playing time. That kind of tactical usage, combined with development of younger linebackers, could strengthen both the front and middle of the defense. Looking closer at the secondary, the Raiders have multiple avenues to explore. Free safety and versatile cornerback options stand out as priority areas because they directly influence coverage schemes and how effectively the team can counter passing attacks. Players like Jordan Whitehead bring a wealth of experience, having started over 100 games and won a Super Bowl, and his ability to play both free safety and box roles adds flexibility to defensive play calling. Similarly, John Johnson offers a center fielder skill set, capable of handling multiple safety assignments while maintaining strong communication across the back end. Both of these players provide leadership, which is just as valuable as skill, especially for a Raiders team in the midst of a rebuilding phase. Even older players like Stephon Gilmore can serve as mentors and rotational contributors, perhaps transitioning to free safety where their understanding of the game and experience in high-pressure situations can benefit younger teammates, while still producing meaningful snaps on the field. Outside cornerbacks like Asante Samuel Jr. present another interesting option. Despite being slightly undersized compared to traditional Pete Carroll corners, Samuel Jr. has proven he can play outside effectively and adapt to various defensive schemes. His availability could allow the Raiders to experiment with coverage packages that have been difficult to implement due to personnel limitations. Damontae Kazee, another versatile defensive back recently available, adds additional depth and flexibility to the secondary, potentially allowing the team to mix in different looks that keep opposing quarterbacks guessing. By addressing both depth and versatility in the back end, the Raiders can reduce mismatches, improve coverage efficiency, and allow safeties like Isaiah Pola-Mao to play in their natural roles where they have been more effective. The defensive line also offers opportunities for impact signings. Shaquille Barrett, even though he is in the later stages of his career, brings proven pass-rushing ability and a winning mentality, which could elevate the defensive front. DeMarcus Walker is another practical choice for the Raiders, combining experience with versatility and an established reputation as a strong teammate. These are the types of players who can immediately contribute while also shaping the culture of the locker room, reinforcing the idea that the Raiders remain competitive and focused despite a difficult start to the season. Strategic additions to the line can relieve pressure on linebackers in the secondary, creating a ripple effect that enhances overall defensive performance. When thinking about the bigger picture, the key is not only finding players who can fill gaps, but also making decisions that signal the organization's commitment to competitiveness. By targeting experienced, versatile, and coachable players, the Raiders can send a message that the team is still fighting, which is crucial for morale, fan engagement, and long-term development. These acquisitions could help stabilize the defense, support the growth of younger talent, and create a foundation for success in the seasons to come. At the same time, giving more responsibility to younger players like Jack Bess and Dante Thornton Jr. on offense ensures that the team is developing its draft investments while staying competitive in the present. Balancing youth with veteran leadership is an approach that not only addresses immediate needs, but also positions the Raiders for sustainable improvement. Ultimately, the decisions made in the coming weeks will define the trajectory of the season. If the Raiders focus on shoring up key defensive positions, using free agency strategically, and giving promising young players meaningful opportunities, the team can still change the narrative of this season. Even though the record currently sits at 2-6, the potential to develop a competitive identity remains if the coaching staff and front office make targeted, thoughtful moves. Whether it's improving coverage, adding a consistent pass rusher, or enhancing the offensive line depth, each decision contributes to building momentum and credibility. For Raiders fans, that means watching the team fight for every play, demonstrate growth, and continue building a roster that can compete at a high level both now and in the future. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL rumor mill, whispers are swirling that edge rival, one of the league's most feared pass rushers, is on the verge of signing with the Las Vegas Raiders. The news, though unconfirmed, has ignited a frenzy among fans and analysts alike, with many speculating that this could be the blockbuster acquisition that finally transforms the Raiders' defense into a true powerhouse. Sources close to the team hint that discussions have been ongoing for weeks, with Raiders management reportedly pulling out all stops to lure the star defensive end to Sin City. Known for his explosive first step, relentless motor, and uncanny ability to disrupt quarterbacks, Rival's potential arrival could drastically alter the dynamics of the Raiders' defensive front. If the deal materializes, it would instantly vault Las Vegas into the conversation as a team capable of dominating in the trenches, a place where they've historically struggled to assert themselves consistently. Fans have taken to social media to speculate on how Rival would fit alongside the existing defensive core. Some suggest he could be the missing piece next to the likes of Max Crosby, forming a duo that quarterbacks across the league would dread facing. Others are more cautious, pointing out the salary cap implications and questioning whether the Raiders can realistically secure him without significant roster moves. Either way, the buzz is undeniable, and anticipation is building for what could be one of the most talked-about defensive signings in recent memory. League insiders are already predicting that if Rival does indeed ink with the Raiders, it could trigger a domino effect across the league, with rival teams scrambling to shore up their offensive lines and recalibrate strategies ahead of a season where Las Vegas suddenly looks like a legitimate defensive threat. Whether this rumor becomes reality or remains a tantalizing what-if, one thing is certain. The Raiders' defense is once again at the center of the NFL's hottest conversations. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.